Dr. Alexander Haskell. I am a naturopathic physician. I've been through the pre-med program at San Francisco State University and also the National College of Natural Medicine, and have practiced about 27 years. And I feel I have a very important message to pass along, partly as a warning for those of you who have probably come from my blog on the safe uses of iodine. And this warning is a result of my experience with the use of high doses of iodine and iodide in my practice, and having witnessed lab results on patients and a couple of illnesses that have resulted from the use of high doses of iodine and iodide. These doses are found in products which are recommending or providing 12.5 milligrams of iodine and iodide, and often being recommended at anywhere from 50 to 100 milligrams. One company now has a tablet of 50 milligrams, and I think this is insane that this type of product is being put on the market, primarily online, and going around the recommendations of a doctor's advice. And even then, doctors are, I'll say, naive, unaware of the possible side effects of using high doses. And I know that many physicians are not doing lab tests, proper lab testing through blood work for thyroid. They're using primarily a lab test which is using urine as seeing how much iodine and iodide are excreted once a person takes a tablet of this high-dose iodine. And my objective here is to get the information out and to warn people about these products. I spent about a year and a half doing research for 2 books that I've written on thyroid disease and Hashimoto's and breast disease or breast cancer. And I was amazed to find hundreds of articles dealing with iodine and the thyroid and breast disease and Hashimoto's. And from this, I realized that I needed to take a more proactive role in spreading the word about the usefulness of iodine and iodide, how important it is for our health, the health of our children, the health of our aged, protecting ourselves from environmental chemicals and toxins. I truly believe that probably the most important nutrient, or at least I am sure the nutrient which we're most lacking, because it's not really found in our food anymore, because our soils are depleted of these essential nutrients, and also because of people having to restrict their intake of seafood and sea vegetation because our oceans have become so polluted. So in my research, I was looking for products, found the high dose, started using those in my practice, and found some real problems with them. As an example, one 58-year-old woman who had the typical symptoms of low thyroid hormones, we ran a blood test and found that her levels of what's called TSH, or thyroid stimulating hormone, there was plenty of that. She was at 3.2, and the range is between 0.3 and 5.5, at least it was then. And her production of thyroid hormone, the primary one called T4 thyroxine, was a bit on the low side. So I gave her a fairly high dose of this combination, and she returned, actually did a follow-up blood test in 4 months or 6 months. And her TSH had gone from the normal of 3.2 up to 107. This was a real shock to me, and I tried to understand the reasons for this, looked at my research, And the problem with that high of a TSH is that TSH stimulates the thyroid to make its hormones, and it does it in a number of ways. And one way is that it stimulates the thyroid cells to make more hydrogen peroxide. There's a reason for that, but I won't get into that presently. But you can imagine when the TSH stays up higher levels like that, and this continuous production of hydrogen peroxide in the thyroid goes on for a year, 6 months, a year, for some people longer, the thyroid starts to get inflamed. We have what's called thyroiditis. If that inflammation stays around for a while longer, eventually those cells start to go through necrosis or apoptosis, destruction of that thyroid cell, and releases out into the system the enzymes, the proteins, and also hydrogen peroxide, and the white blood cells start to come into the area to clean up this debris, and we have what's called an autoimmune condition, Hashimoto's. So going to high dose is not at all advised. There's a much safer way of getting there, of saturating our system with enough iodine and iodide to create health and to protect our bodies from these environmental toxins. Another case, I told this to a colleague of mine, a physician, and he at that point became not quite reserved in his recommendations, but he said, okay, we'll be testing everybody before I put them on this combination high dose, testing them to see if they have Hashimoto's to begin with. One lady tested negative. She was put on the high dose. She turned up 6 months later with a lab report from her endocrinologist that she was now positive for Hashimoto's. Okay? He stopped prescribing high doses. The same physician had been experimenting with high doses on himself, developed thyroid cysts. Cysts tend to suddenly produce in the system a lot of thyroid hormones, and he went into hyperthyroidism, severe symptoms for 3 months. In the meantime, he consulted with 3 other physicians. They all recommended to have the thyroid radiated or removed. He elected to do things a bit more naturally, and luckily came out of it after 3 months. He will not touch iodine again. So even though your physician may be recommending a high-dose iodine product, I suggest and recommend being much more moderate in his or her recommendation, and not to exceed 3 milligrams of the combination of iodine and iodide. I did research the market to see what was available and what we might be able to use or recommend for our patients, and couldn't really find much of anything that would be effective. We looked into kelp products. I approached Gaia Herbs, a very large, well-known herbal product manufacturer in North Carolina, and told them I would like them to produce for me a concentrate of kelp, which would provide that 3 milligrams of iodide and iodine. And after about a week's research, they said they would not, could not manufacture that item because of its high levels of arsenic. Our oceans are polluted. We can no longer be taking the amount of sea vegetation and fish that maybe the Japanese were able to do back in 1975, in the 70s and 60s, showing a much lower incidence of cancer and breast disease and breast cancer because of their high intake of sea products. We are not able to take in that much iodine and iodide from the sea anymore, just because of the amount of pollutants. Iodized salt, another source of iodide, is too weak. It does have per teaspoon approximately 300 micrograms of iodide, but to get your system up to getting to optimal levels, we require taking more iodized salt, and because it's recommended we not take more than 2,000 milligrams of sodium per day, which is what's found in a teaspoon, we cannot increase that amount to get our iodide levels any higher. To do that would mean possibly having high blood pressure and also kidney problems after a while, since the kidneys are the organs that process that high amount of sodium. So I think that pretty much covers my concerns. I then approached Pure Research Labs and presented my research and my books, and said as far as I was concerned there was really no product in the market that I could recommend to my patients, and I felt that there was a huge market for a product that would have the 3 milligrams as long as we included adequate amounts of selenium in the methionine form. Selenium has a number of very, very important enzymes that are made from selenium, which help with thyroid hormone metabolism, and also the reason for including it in this particular product was because it protects the thyroid from excess iodide and iodine. It also helps to decrease inflammation in the thyroid cells. I know this is a very precautionary note, this video, but I want to emphasize that I feel that those 2 trace minerals are probably the most important minerals and vitamins we can be taking in our diet right now, and that's because we have a world epidemic of iodine deficiency. The World Health Organization has estimated that 1/3 of our world population, or 2 billion people, have an iodine deficiency. I think we can probably add at least half that, if not that much again, for people in our world who are suffering from an iodine insufficiency. Our food no longer has the nutrients we need, the iodine and iodide. It still provides us plenty of other minerals and other vitamins, but because our soils have become depleted, it's really a severe, major problem in our country as well as around the world. So I hope you'll return to the blog, continue to become informed about the importance of iodine and iodide for many, many health problems. Please be aware, if you are a parent, of the essential need of the pregnant woman for iodine and iodine intake. For that period of lactation and breastfeeding, it's extremely important for the development of your child's brain. It has been shown in many research articles, which I'll provide for you on the site, on the blog site, the essential need for iodine and iodide during the brain developmental years of our children. It's been shown, a deficiency has been shown to cause a lowered IQ and is even associated with ADD and ADHD, a very, very common diagnosis that we're getting for our young people's population right now through psychiatrists and through psychologists, and no one is really thinking about the reasons why. So please, I hope I've instilled some trust through this video. I hope you'll go on to, of course, purchase our product, which I feel will improve, I know will improve your health and will improve your longevity, and also to prevent certain ailments or illnesses that our society is tending towards in the latter years. There's no reason why we as human beings cannot remain healthy until the last years and months and days of our life. Illness is preventable through nutrition and through lifestyle, and I feel the 2 most important nutrients for longevity and health would be iodine and iodide. I thank you for the time, and please return to the blog to read more. Thank you.